Well, we have ostensibly our second coat after the primer on here, and I'm using enamel on it, but I've got some wrinkling going on here. Not sure why, and it's not everywhere, just in a few certain places, and I wiped the whole thing down with paint thinner before I primed it, and I used metal etching primer, and the primer dried for probably a couple hours. But you know, it's not a thing of beauty anyway. This thing has been used and abused. And look at these factory welds. That thing ain't even connected there. Didn't notice that till I started painting it white. That one looks like it's broken. That one looks like it's broken. This is the one I haven't painted this one solid because I'm going to grind around it and re-weld that, because that's one we saw daylight through. This thing has had some abuse. Yes, sirree, Bob, it sure has. Even the welds that aren't broken aren't great. I mean, look at that. It's really only one piece of that holds. It's probably one of the best ones on the whole thing. Must be a new guy on the job that day. That's what they should look like. Whew. Yowza. Yeah, well, I may have to go back and clean those spots off and do some welding repair. Although, I suppose if it's lasted all this time, this is from the 70s, and yeah, it's probably 40 years old and it's still going, you know. What can I say? Alright, I gotta go do some sandblasting. This is the way we filter the used stuff. This is the way I'm doing it this time, which I didn't do before. You can see the stuff that it collects, and actually it's finer screen than what they used originally, I'm guessing. All you need is a vintage bread pan and half of a barrel and a 5-gallon bucket that's clean and an old window screen. There you have it. Yeah, there it is. The goofy cart frame is all sandblasted, at least as much as we can do. I've used up my sand and even recycled it once and a half. And so what I have done is I have put a coat of metal etching primer on the bottom side. And then after this is dry later today, I will take it into the shop and I'll set it up again on the sawhorses and set it right side up. So I do have some finishing touches to do on the top side, mainly because I ran out of sand and I wasn't able to sandblast everything, but I got everything that was needed and had to do. And now that things are primed, you can see places where I repaired it, like right here. That originally had a bubble out there in the frame, and I cut that bubble out and welded it back in a piece. So it looks pretty good from the outside, and you're not going to see the inside anyway. And I see that I have a bolt hole here that I could have filled in. You can see the marks because markers do not paint over well. They bleed through even primer, even metal etching primer. But that's not a problem because that'll be hid behind a pulley. I mean, not a pulley, behind the sprocket. So that's not an issue. And yeah, overall it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. And so once I get it dried off, and it looks like a little bit light on the primer across here, I'll have to go get the can and finish it again. Once it's finished on top, then I will be flipping it over again, and I will paint the bottom side of it. Yeah, you can see that's what I don't have anymore. That's when I was using my flux core welder, my HF flux core welder, and that's what flux core welders do. They make lots of little BBs. They weld good, but they make lots of little BBs. But with regular MIG welder, you don't have all those BBs. You know what I'm saying? You can look here, and there ain't no BBs down in here. Maybe one or two, but much different. Yep, I had lots of grinding to do on the top side with the original parts that I welded using my flux core welder. So there it is, in primer, the Goofy cart, and it will be the next thing on the lift as soon as I can get my Emperor done and off of there. You know what I'm saying? Done and off of there. So thanks for watching. It has been another beautiful day here in southeastern Minnesota, and George has enjoyed working under the shade tree. Yes, we have a nice little breeze blowing, and the birds have been out here chirping at me, driving me crazy. Well, no, not driving me crazy. I've been driving them crazy because I've been making a mess and making noise, and they couldn't get in here. So I got some chopping up to do. That's a branch that fell down out of my shade tree in our last storm. Well, thanks again for watching, commenting, and subscribing. Until then, bye for now. One of them mounted. How cool is that? That'll do the job just fine. Woohoo! Bye for now.